something. That is super important to know that a proportion has two ratios that are equal. Okay. A rate, which we're going to talk about in a few days, compares two quantities. A quantity is just a fancy word for number. Okay. Two quantities, but they have different units, like miles per gallon, how many feet per second, how many words per minute, how many Cokes per dollar. Okay. We're looking for different units. And the other word we need for today is ratio, which you did ratios a lot in 6th grade. A ratio is just a comparison of two numbers, okay? So those are the 3 vocab words that we need for today. We'll be coming back and using the other ones later, okay? So ratio is something that you did in 6th grade. So we're going to turn to page 4 real quick to do some ratio notes. Okay. Ratio notes. This should be a quick, super easy review. Again, this is not the first time you've done it. Okay. Spent a lot of time in 6th grade on ratios. A ratio is just a comparison of two numbers, like we just said. Okay. What's the ratio of boys to girls? What's the ratio of cats to dogs? What's the ratio of volleyball players to football players? The ratio of people who play an instrument to people who sing. Okay, you're just comparing two things. It can be written 3 different ways. In 6th grade, you did a lot of this, like 1:2, 1, the word 2, or a fraction. Okay, we're mostly going to be working with fractions in 7th grade. So, but sometimes you will see it like this, 1 to 2. Okay. The big thing you have to remember when we are working with ratios is that we always simplify. Always simplify. Okay. We did our warm-up on simplifying. Okay. If you forgot, simplifying means dividing by a common number. Okay. When we have ratios, we always have to simplify. Okay. We're dividing by a common number. Okay. The order in which you write a ratio is very important. Okay. Order matters. Okay. So when we're writing the ratios, we want to go back and reread the question before we write our words. Okay. Reread the question before writing your words. Okay. Sometimes they give you a lot of information, and then I just have to go back and look to see what did it ask, what order did it want me to do it in. Okay. Now there's a bunch of these emojis, and there's a bunch of these. We're not going to go through all these because it takes a little while, so we're just going to do a couple. Okay. So if I wanted to know the ratio of teeth to no teeth, okay, every single time you need to write your words, okay? If we were here in person, I would say I'm not grading your work if you don't write the words, okay? So we're writing teeth over no teeth, okay? And then we want to quickly count these emojis and see how many have teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I counted 9. Okay, so 9 with teeth. Now, if I want to know the number that don't have teeth, I can just take away the teeth from the total. So this array is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 4. So that means there's how many total? 24. Good, thank you. There are 24 total. Thank you for the people who are in the chat and having conversation with me. Makes me feel like I'm teaching to people, which I appreciate. Okay, so there's 24 total. 9 have teeth. How many do not have teeth? 15. Okay, so you can go and count all the other ones, or you can just subtract 24 minus 9 to give you 15. Okay, when you don't have pictures in a word problem, you would just subtract because you wouldn't have pictures to look at. Okay, now 9/15 is almost the answer, but I have to remember to simplify. So what's a number that goes into 9 and 15? If you don't know, always start at 2. Does 2 go in there? No. What'd you say? 3. Good, Gavin. So we're going to divide by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. That's my answer, 3/5. Okay, again, we're not going to do all these because this will take too long. But you write your words, you write your numbers, and you simplify. That's all we're doing. Okay, let's go down to tongue, this third one. Tongue over total. Okay, I already know the total is 24. How many have tongues? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Did y'all get 4? Okay, 4 over 24. Okay, that's not quite the answer because I can simplify. So what goes into 4 and 24? Okay, so 6 goes into 24, but does 6 go into 4? That's okay. Everybody messes that up. Okay, so divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 1/6 is the answer. And this pen is going to try to die on me. 1/6. Yes, and usually your answer choices will be simplified. All right, we'll do one more. Let's do tiny eyes to no smile. Tiny eyes to no smile. Okay. All right, tiny eyes. Let's see. Let me pick a different. Tiny eyes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tiny eyes to no smile. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 10 over 20, which simplifies to what? 1/2. Good. Okay. So ratios are pretty simple. You have to understand ratios to move into proportions. Okay. This is a review from 6th grade. Okay. The order matters. Put the numbers, put the words, simplify. That's it. Okay. So now we're going to use ratios to move into proportions. And a proportion is the name given when there are 2 equal ratios. Okay. That's your vocab word. Proportions are used to solve for missing pieces of information. Okay. We always use proportions to make a prediction. Okay. You're going to see the word predict a lot when we're talking about proportions. Okay. So there are 2 ways to solve a proportion. The first one is by scaling. Okay, scaling is just a shortcut. We'll use the scale factor when later in the unit when we talk about similar figures. Okay, and you're using multiplication or division when you scale. You're not adding or subtracting. You're either multiplying or dividing. Okay. The other way to do it other than a scale is cross multiplication, which means we're using algebra. Okay, and I will show you how to do those in just a minute. Okay, this cross multiplication always works. Sometimes the shortcut works. I'll be honest, in 7th grade, most of the time the shortcut works. But some people never want to do it because it doesn't work every time and they want to do algebra every time. That's totally fine. This one's just a little bit more work. Okay. And knowing how to scale is going to help with next year when you do scale factor for the shapes. Okay. Now I want you to go back to page 1. Underneath that vocab, really quick, now that we know what a proportion is, I want to show you how to know if something is proportional. Okay? There are 2 ways to check if something is proportional. It does not matter to me which one you pick. 2 ways to check if it's proportional. This is going to be super important for this unit, is knowing how to see if something's proportional. Okay. Up here we said a proportion has 2 ratios that are equal. Yes, London, I said there's a lot of notes today, and there's hardly any notes next time we meet, but today is a lot of notes. Okay, 2 ways to check if it's proportional. Again, I don't care which way you pick. Pick whatever way you prefer. Okay. The first way is to simplify both ratios. Okay. Simplify both ratios. Okay. So we'll start off with the fraction. 16 over 40, 20 over 50. Okay. Simplify means to make them smaller by dividing by a common number, which we already talked about. So what's a common number that could go into those guys? 16 and 40. What's a common number? 4. Okay, we could divide by 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. 40 divided by 4 is 10. Okay, if your number is still has numbers that can go into them, that means you didn't pick a high enough number. It's not wrong. You're just having to do more work. Okay, so always try to think of the biggest number. So now I know these are even. What goes into all even numbers? 2. Good. Thank you, Bailey. Okay. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay. If you had divided by 8, you would have only had to do it one time. Okay. But if you can't think of a big number, then just start with 2 and do it 17 times if you have to. You will get the right answer. It's just going to be more work. Okay. Now 20 and 50. Again, there's a lot of numbers that go in there. Think of the biggest number that goes into both. 10. Okay. 10 is good. 20 divided by 10, 2. 50 divided by 2, 50 divided by 10, 5. 2/5. Okay. I simplified both ratios, and what happened? All right, good. So if they simplify to the same answer, they are proportional. If they simplify to the same number, then they're proportional. So these both simplify to the same thing. So that tells me that these are proportional, which means 16 over 40 does equal 20 over 50. They equal the same thing. They simplify to the same thing. They're proportional. Okay. Now, this works every single time, but sometimes it's easier to just do the second way. Okay. Again, you can do the second way every time, the first way. It doesn't matter. Cross products. Okay. Cross products is a vocab word. It says cross products is a method used to determine if 2 ratios are equal. Okay. You actually did this in 6th grade. They just did in 5th grade. They just didn't call it cross products. They tried to make it cute and call it the butterfly method. Okay. It's the same thing. 16 over 40 equals 20 over 50. Okay. So you would do your butterfly. This is 40 times 20 equals, this side is 16 times 50. And then product just means multiply, the answer to a multiplication problem. So I'm going to save you time and tell you that this is 800 and that this is also 800. Okay? So when you multiply across, hence the word cross products, if they equal the same number, then it is proportional. Okay? So either way works. Neither way is more correct. It just depends. Are you really good with multiplication? Are you good with division? Okay? And for me, it depends on the numbers. If it's big numbers, I'm going to try to divide. If it's short, easy numbers, I'm going to multiply because I can multiply short numbers. Okay? Totally your call. Okay? 2 ways to check for proportionality. Okay? So I'm going to give you 3 problems. And then in the chat, you're going to either put yes or no if they're proportional. Okay? So the first one is 2/6 over 8/24. The second one, 6/10 over 9/12. Third one, 21 over 30. 35 over 50. Okay? Use either method that you would like. It does not matter to me. It does not affect me one way or the other. Pick whatever method you like. And then I'm going to open the polls in just a second. And you're going to write either yes or no. Okay. Alright, so once you have your answer, the poll is in the chat. You're either writing yes or no. You're either simplifying or cross multiplying. It honestly does not matter to me. Whatever you're best at, whatever you're more comfortable with. So we're doing all 3 questions. The poll is in the right corner. You click on the shapes. When you click on the shapes, it should give you the poll. I only got about 8 people in, so make sure that you are taking the time to go through quickly do this. We're doing great on the first one. Second one, we're good. Ooh, the third one, we're kind of split. Right now, it's 4 to 5. That third one is messing some folks up. I'll give you a hint. Divide by 3 on the first one. 21 and 30 can both be divided by 3. If you're not good at simplifying, just go ahead and multiply. I have 12 people in right now on the chat, on the poll. 12 people. All right, let's see. 87% of people on the first one got it correct. 87% got the first one correct. Okay, it was yes. I did both ways. You could see they simplified to 1/3, or they both multiplied to 48. So very good, 86%. Okay, the next one, it's about 80%. 10 out of 12 people. I don't know where everybody else was. It was no. Okay, I simplified and I got 3/5 and 3/4. I also cross multiplied and I got 90 and 72. So that one was no. Okay. And on the third one, it is exactly split 7 and 7. That's not very good. 50% is not very good. Okay. So I simplified by 3 and I got 7/10, and then I simplified by 5 and I got 7/10. Okay, maybe you multiplied and you got 1,050, 1,050, but the answer should have been yes. Okay, if you're trying to divide and you can't think of anything, then just go ahead and multiply. Okay, go ahead and multiply so that you can finish checking your answer. Okay, so super important to know if it's proportional. All right, now go ahead and turn to page 3, and I'm going to show you the 3 ways to solve for proportions. 3 is this blank page here. Okay. And I know, yeah, guys, I'm sorry. Today's just a lot of notes. But the good thing is when we come back next time, it's like 5 minutes of notes, and then we'll practice, which is good. Okay? We just have to get all these notes out of the way. All right. So the 3 ways to solve. Okay. The first one is a shortcut. And for me, if you can give me a shortcut and I can get the answer, I'm going to do it. Okay. It's called the side-by-side shortcut. Okay. We're looking for side to side, and we're looking for a number to either multiply or divide. Okay. We're always looking for x. And this will make sense in just a second, but I need you to know your arrow will always point to your variable. Okay, your variable is your x. Remember I said that we were using proportions for predictions. We're predicting how much time something's going to happen. Arrow always points to the variable. Okay, if your arrow is opposite, which again this will make sense in a minute, just write it down. If the arrow is opposite, you do the opposite operation. If your arrow is opposite, you'll do the opposite operation. And I know that makes no sense right now. It's okay. We're going to get there. Okay. All right. We're going to start off with no word problems, just numbers. Okay. We're going to just make sense of it with numbers before we start trying to put meaning to it. Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with 5/3 equals x over 6. Okay. Green. Okay. All right. So I can't get from 5 to x, but I can get from 3 to 6. Okay, remember I said the shortcut is multiplying or dividing. So what can I do to get from 3 to 6? Multiply by 2. Good. Okay, now up here I said the arrow always points to the variable. Okay, so my arrow has to point to the variable. Now, do you see how my arrows are both going from left to right? Okay, that means they're going the same direction, so I'm doing the exact same thing, which is times 2. So then x equals 10. Okay, pretty easy. Okay, let's try another one. 2 over 6 equals 8 over x. Okay, this time my x is on the bottom. So I want to look from 2 to 8 is times what? Times 4. Good. Okay, multiplying by 4. Now on the bottom, my arrow is still pointing to the x, same direction, so I'm doing the same operation, which is times 4. So x is 24. So far, pretty easy, right? I don't know, because I don't see anyone's face to nod at me or to give me a thumbs up or anything. Okay, next question. Oops, yeah. N over 36 equals 5 over 12. Okay. Okay. So this time, my numbers are on the bottom. So how am I getting from 36 to 12? Okay, so it's getting smaller or bigger from 36 to 12? Good. And good, Joelle, I saw you in the chat. Okay, divide by 3. Okay, now on the top, remember my arrow always has to point to my variable? So do you see how this time it's the opposite direction, which means the opposite operation, which is multiply by 3. Okay, so n equals 15. Okay, one more. We'll do 21 over 27 equals 7 over x. Okay, so I'm going from 21 to 7. How do I get there? Divide by 3. On the bottom, I'm always pointing to x. So this time I'm going the same direction, which means I do the same operation. So x equals 9. Everybody okay with that? Makes sense? Okay. Thank you to the people who are participating in the chat and who are unmuting themselves to talk to me and let me know that they're with us. Okay. All right. Next question. Now we're going to go the up and down method. Okay. Again, these are the shortcuts. This is if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Okay. Up and down, it's still multiply or divide. And we're doing the exact same thing, but now maybe this doesn't work, so I have to go up and down. Okay. So 2 over 12 equals 7 over x. 2 over 12 equals 7 over x. Okay. So I can't get from 2 to 7 like I have been doing, but I can get from 2 to 12. Okay, so there's a shortcut this way. Okay, how do you get from 2 to 12? Times 6. Good, thank you, Gavin. On the other side, it's going the same direction, so I'm also timesing 6. So x is 42. Okay, so it's the same thing. I just can't go across, so I'm going up and down. Okay, look at the next one. 2 over y equals 3 over 12. Okay. This time I have to look over at my left. From 3 to 12 is times 4. So on the opposite side, I'm doing the same thing. They're both pointing down, so I do the same operation, which is times 4, and y is equal to 8. The final one is 24 over 8 equals k over 12. Here, 24 to 8, I'm getting smaller, so I know I'm not multiplying, I'm dividing. And what am I dividing? Good, divide by 3. Now on the other side, remember my arrow has to point to the letter. So what operation am I doing now? Multiply by 3, good. Okay, so again, if the arrow goes opposite, you do the opposite operation. So 12 times 3, k equals 36. Okay, those are the shortcuts. Okay, shortcuts are great. They work most of the time. Okay, most of the time in 7th grade, shortcuts are going to work. But every now and then, you're going to have one that doesn't work. And I need to show you how to do it. Now, some people don't want to waste any time with simplifying or trying to do a shortcut, so they do this every single time, which is fine. To me, it's more work, but they feel more comfortable with it. So it is 1000% your call. Okay? It will work every single time. So if you can't find a shortcut, don't keep looking because there might not be one. Okay? I'll do a couple of examples of how to do this. X over 15 equals 8 over 20. Okay, I can't get from 15 to 20. I can't get from 8 to 20. So I'm going to just do old school algebra. Okay, so cross products. 15 times 8 equals 20 times x. Okay, I'm going to save you the time and tell you this is 120 equals 20x. Now this is just regular algebra. How would I get x by itself in regular algebra? What's happening to your x right now? Divide. And good, and Ruth, I saw your answer in there. Okay. And Gavin, I am totally fine with you being wrong because at least you're participating. Even my people in the chat, it is okay to be wrong as long as you're still participating. Okay. That's how we learn. And it makes me feel like I'm doing my job if I see you participating, so I appreciate it. Okay. Next one. 6 over 9 equals 10 over x. Okay. I look for a shortcut. Can't get from 6 to 9. Can't get from 6 to 10. So I'm just going to multiply. 10 times 9 equals 6 times x. I know that 10 times 9 is 90. How would I get x by itself? Good. Divide. Thank you, Leah. Divide. Divide by 6. And again, I'm just going to save y'all time and tell y'all the answer is 15. We'll have plenty of time for division later. Just want to get these notes done. All right. One last time. 4 over 6 equals 6 over x. Okay, I want y'all to try this one by yourself. Don't push enter yet. I'm going to have y'all waterfall it in just a second. Give everybody a chance. You're doing it exactly like you did the first two. Go ahead and put your answer in the chat, and we're going to waterfall in about 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Thank you. Okay, the answer is 9. I kind of think I should just screenshot who participated and give them something, because most of y'all did not participate. The answer was 9. Okay, that is correct. Good job, guys. The answer was 9. Okay, any questions on that? All right, we're going to do one last thing together. Go to page 5. We're just going to do the top part, and we'll save this for tomorrow or next time we meet. Okay, we're just doing this one thing because this is going to help you do your assignment. Oh, I'm sorry, Leah. Okay. All right. It says use the images below to predict how many pair of goggles and life jackets the surf shop should order. That's a mouthful. Okay. So the first thing I want to do, anytime they give me pictures, is I want to count to see how many I have. So how many life jackets are there? 8. Good. Okay. How many pairs of goggles are there? 6. Okay. And how many total items are there? 14. Okay. You never know what they're going to ask you, so always find the number of each one and then find the total. Okay. All right, so the first question wants me to put the ratio. Oh, my keyboard keeps falling. The ratio of life jackets to goggles. Remember, we do have to write words, so I'm just going to write LJ for life jacket. Goggles or go. Okay. So how many life jackets were there? 8. Okay. How many goggles were there? 6. Okay. Now, what's the last thing you have to remember to do? Starts with an S. Simplify. You have to simplify. Okay. So what can go into those numbers? 2. Yes, Bailey. Thank you. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So your answer is 4/3. Okay. Some of the questions are going to be just that easy. What is the ratio? Okay. Over here, I want to know the ratio of goggles to total. So go over total. Okay. I already know there were 6 goggles, and I know there's 14 total. Okay. Can that be simplified? Yes. Okay. They're even, so I'm going to divide by 2 again. And I get 3/7. Okay. All right, so those are ratios. Super, super easy. You did it in 6th grade. Now the next two are going to be proportions, which we just practiced. It's just practicing it with words. Okay. So the question says there are 39 pairs of goggles. How many life jackets? Okay, so what 2 things is that question wanting me to do to compare? Okay, what's the other? What 2 things am I comparing? Okay, so it says goggles to life jackets. So I'm going to put goggles over life jackets. Okay, it tells me that there are 39 pair of goggles. So this is why the words are going to be super, super, super important. Okay, 39 goggles. And it says how many life jackets. So if you don't know something, if it's unknown, what should you put? If it's unknown, a variable. Very good, Bailey. We're going to put X for my variable because I don't know. Okay. So 39 came from the question. It says how many jackets. I don't know how many jackets, so that's my X. Okay. My other number comes from the original picture. Okay. There were 6 goggles for 8 life jackets. Okay. Now, I can't get from 6 to 39. Can't get from 6 to 48. But before we do algebra, let me show you something. You can simplify. Okay. So 6/8 we already know simplifies to 3/4. Okay. Now, to get from 3 to 39, it's going to be times 13. Okay. So on the bottom, I want my number to point to X, so it's also going to be times 13. So 13 times 4, X equals 52. Okay. So you're being very careful to write the words. You have to make sure you put the numbers in the right place. If you didn't want to simplify, you could have just multiplied and divided by 6. Totally fine. Okay. Let's do one last one together. It says there are 30 sets of goggles. How many total items? So this question, what 2 things am I comparing? Okay, what am I comparing it to? Okay, so goggles over total. It tells me there are 30 sets of goggles, so I know that 30 goes with goggles. And it says how many total, so I don't know that, so what am I going to put there? X. Okay. Now I have to go back up to my picture for the next part. Goggles was 6. Total was 14. Okay. So first, you look for a shortcut. If there's not one, then let's simplify. Is there a shortcut? Yeah, what's the shortcut? Divide by 5. Okay. If you didn't see that shortcut, you could have simplified. That's totally fine. Okay. Remember, a shortcut's just there to make it easier. If you don't see it, don't stress. Okay. Now I'm going the opposite direction because I'm still going to my X. So I'm doing the opposite operation. So X equals 70. So there are 70 total items. Okay. If you're a little bit rusty about this, don't worry, because next time we come together, it's just going to be a practice day. Okay. I just wanted to give you a couple so that you could get started on your assignment for today. Okay. Your assignment for today, you have 2 opportunities to take it. If you do it real quick and you're like, oh man, I should have come for help, don't redo it the second time until you come back and ask for help. Okay. I'm going to ask y'all to stay on for about 10 minutes because I want to make sure that everybody is able to get logged in. If you have questions, you can obviously unmute here. If you're not really comfortable unmuting with a lot of people, I am going to open RMS Karen if you feel more comfortable coming to a smaller group. Okay, but everybody's going to stay on the meet real quick for me. I want you to get logged in and start on your assignment. Okay, if you have questions, unmute, ask now. Okay, unmute and ask for help before you fail it. Okay, don't fail it. Ask for help. That's how you learn.